Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera kepada semua pelajar yang dapat mengikuti kelas ini. Pertamanya saya ingin memohon maaf kerana minggu ini saya terpaksa menggunakan cara asynchronous ataupun recorded video untuk kelas pada kali ini. Okey, dan seperti yang semua maklum, ini adalah minggu ke-7 untuk kuliah. Ini bermakna minggu hadapan kamu akan berhenti rehat seketika untuk mid semester break. Jadi mid semester break 1 minggu dan selepas itu kamu akan kembali ke kampus. Di sini saya ingin memberi sedikit harapan lah, kerana selepas semester break atau midterm break, kamu akan berada di minggu ke-9 dan seterusnya. Dan seperti yang kamu tahu, ini adalah waktu yang agak kritikal kerana kamu perlu menghantar tugasan, menyiapkan tugasan. Jadi kamu harus bersedia dan saya mohon agar setiap pelajar memberikan komitmen yang baik kepada untuk tugasan-tugasan yang diberikan. Jadi hari ini ataupun kali ini kita akan bincangkan mengenai topik strategies for venture growth. Okay, so topik ini adalah yang menarik dan saya rasa ia terkait rapat dengan strategi entrepreneurship. Kerana strategis adalah satu perkara yang perlu difikirkan, must be think by the organisation and what more by the entrepreneurs in order for them to make sure the firm survive and grow. Okay, so that is the main concern here. Having said that, kita nak memastikan, we want to make sure that at the end of this class, students should be able to first understand the concept of business growth. So this is very important. Growth yang macam mana, concept of business venture yang macam mana yang kita rasa highly potential venture for us to start on. The second one is to identify the potential barriers for the venture growth. Definitely, when someone started a venture, the wishful thinking of them is to make sure that the firm grow very well. Otherwise, it's no point for them to embark on the entrepreneurship journey and what more to establish a venture, business venture, and taking care, spend time, commitment, and your energy, thinking, and all that to that extent. Yeah. And the third one is to identify the strategies suitable for venture growth also. This is very important. What kind of strategies that can be implemented? Okay, is it all strategies relevant to your firms or to your organization, or uh, where specific things only can be considered? Now, at the beginning of any chapter, we try to understand this whole scope of environmental scanning, strategy formulation, strategy implementation, and also evaluation and control. So I believe about this strategy is more or less at this stage, strategy implementation phases. Okay, here we have programs, we have budgets, and also we have procedures to be considered within the strategy implementation stages. So, in order for us to have an idea about strategies, we must know thoroughly about what is business venture. Is it same as a business? Is it the same as organization? Is it the same as small firms, SMEs, big firms, and all that? So according to Gartner, 1985, Gartner is quite well established or even guru of entrepreneurship development in any way. So here Gartner see that business venture that has been established the main objective is to organize or assemble ongoing in the interdependent action into sensible sequences that generate sensible outcomes. Wow, that is a mouthful definition, But if you can see, the highlight here is actually to assemble interdependent action. So here, what we can understand is to assemble the business or related business process, okay, into what? Into a sequential or into a good arrangement. So what are the objective of this exercise? Is to generate a sensible outcomes. However, here you can see Gardner put it in a general description. It doesn't say about financial, but sensible outcome, I guess financial consideration is part of it. Okay, it could be also produce a reputation or any related output that be what we call it a byproduct of this business process. Okay, uh, important for it is important for new ventures to be competent in transforming input into output that stakeholders need and want. Yeah, I think previous chapters I mentioned about the role of firm is to conduct a conversion of input into output. Input we can consider is as a capital, either financial capital, technological capital, or physical capital or physical facilities. This is the resources that are needed by the firm. That the business venture itself can be considered as a successful one when they are able to do conversion and leading to production of the final output, either product, services, or a concept. So it depends on the nature of that firms anyway. Third point here, it says that the characteristic of the entrepreneur, the structure of the industry, and the strategy of the venture involved will play important role in a venture performance. Indeed, memanglah. Characteristic of entrepreneur, I think all of us have gone through the subject of gelagat usahawan or entrepreneurial behavior or entrepreneur's behavior. We know for the fact uh, uh, the characteristic or personal traits of the entrepreneur plays a major part in entrepreneurship or SME's development. Okay, so no doubt about that. So no wonder you can see if you go to the literature, a deep literature search, or even not that deep, but rather than a reasonable literature search, you will find that most psychologists, they are interested in recognizing and do separation between who are the entrepreneurs and who are non-entrepreneurs. Yeah, and within the entrepreneurs, the recognition of entrepreneurs field, then they divide that into competencies and efficacy arguments. So that is part of things that you need to consider if you like to do a research of that. Okay. The characteristic of the entrepreneur, the structure of the industry, and third, and the strategy of the venture involved will play important role in a venture performance. Indeed, yang ni kita tengok bahawa industry analysis, kat sini dia tulis Sandberg and Hofer 1987, but I think the industry analysis is more or less we are referring to argument of Professor Michael Porter ataupun Porter Five Forces tu. Jadi apa yang nak disampaikan oleh this third point is actually when we venture into any business or start any venture, it could be the main motivation is about it's about the strategy uh, to determine the which sector is more attractive in terms of the profitability, in terms of the competitiveness, or in terms of how easy we can join that sector. So here the concept of business venture, the continuity of here is by Gardner again. he highlights the criteria of business venture. So it could be, business venture. Why don't only we say that a business or a criteria for small medium enterprises or business firms, for example. However, from the Gartner perspective, it says that here its founder must acquire expertise in product, process, market, or technology. So Gartner see one of the elements that exists within this business venture argument, the partner or the founder must be highly competent person or highly competent people. So this is very important. The second one is the result are expected beyond the year which the investment is made. So the argument of business venture also draws opinion about the time for the firm to digest, to plan, and also to execute any planning. So it is considered as a new market entrance by its competitor, and is regarded as a new source of supply by its potential customers. So concept of business venture more or less related to what we call a business startup or startup firms. Because when we consider that, we could highlight the point number 3 and number 4, whereby we say that it is considered a new market entrant. So I'm not sure whether most of the time startup fall under this category. However, if there's a chance for anyone that being an entrepreneur before and started to change career, they might fall into this category as well. So it's regarded as new source of supply and is a potential customer. Yeah, it's very true. Betul sangat yang ini. Kerana kalau kita fikir, business venture ini, dia perlu memberi manfaat kepada customer. Okay? If not, we seems to agree that the firm is part of distribution channel only. Okay? So, dia tak akan banyak mengubah apa-apalah, kan? Okay, so a framework for describing the creation of new venture. So apa yang ada dalam new venture ni? First, it must have individual or individuals, one or many people. The person, apa yang dia buat sebenarnya? What's what we call the main task here? The person involved in a starting new venture, new organization. So this is very true. So the individual is actually involved in the formation and the starting up of the firm. The second one is the organization. Yeah, the type of firm that is started ni dependent on orang kata form of the business, either LLP, either PLT, either Sdn Berhad or Berhad, something like that. So environment, yeah, is part of the new venture because environment could be influence that venture in many ways. Yeah. So the situation surrounding and influencing the new organization. So that's very true. New venture process. Okay, we have individual, we have organization, we do have environment. Now we are having new venture process. What are them? What are they? I beg your pardon. The actions taken by the individual to start the venture. So new venture process, by this description, we know for the fact the main output is about to burn, or what we call it, to do action to start a venture. So if you have a group of people but they only remain at an ideation stage, yang tu bukan new venture process. It could be at what we call it a nascency stage, whereby there's no firm has been formed. Jadi dia tak boleh juga. So individuals, apa individuals ni? What are they? What are they? So individual in value, referring to the value in describing entrepreneurs. So individual is actually a reflection of value from the entrepreneurs that train company for need for achievement, risk taking, previous work experience, education, and job satisfaction. So individual, all in all, is more or less two characteristic personal traits related to the person. Yeah. Okay. The second one is organization. Um, Type of firms such as retail, manufacturing, service, and wholesale is part of this organization dimension. Third is the environment. Okay, sees the environment as an outside set of conditions to which organization must adapt. So it describes the context of the firm whereby it exists in not in vacuum but rather than well-defined space. So that is environment. So see the environment as a reality. Yeah, that organization create via selective of their own perceptions. So the selective see the environment as a reality the organization create is more or less try to reconnect or try to find a equilibrium point in order for them to manage the perception. New venture process, okay. New venture process, the entrepreneur locates a business opportunity. So this is more or less like business activity, but it falls under new venture process because it is involved more on pre establishment of any business entity. So new venture process refers to the entrepreneur locates the business opportunity, the entrepreneur accumulate the resources, the entrepreneur market the products and services, and the entrepreneur produce the product, and the entrepreneur build an organization. So this is very important insight. Hang on a second. Now, potential barriers for the venture growth. That is very important. So normally we are looking at financial barriers, including the availability and also cost of the capital or acquisition cost of the loan that we apply. Second is the internal organization barriers, where it includes managerial capacity and capability. This is what we call managerial competencies as well. So the objective of the firm or the direction of the firm, sometimes they are not interested in a business growth, but rather than to maintain or what we call it, try to minimize the loss by conducting this. Third is the social barriers to do with the support or lack of it from the local actors and agencies. So social barriers is regarding to the society. Okay. Of course, does every venture need growth? Yeah, we need growth definitely. But what kind of growth that we are looking from one organization to another organization, or from one sector to another sector? So, of course, all entrepreneurs seek growth, and growth is not necessarily even desirable objective of all SMEs. That indeed, some SMEs they are concerned more or less about the operational, and provided the main condition is no such thing as running at loss, but not actually for profit, just maybe for conservation or macam-macam lagi lah. Secondly, it fits the profit maximizing, and they have already checked the minimum efficient scale of the business and small shops like that. Okay, so therefore, lack of growth on its own does not necessarily indicate the presence of significant barriers to the growth. Okay, apa maksudnya kat sini? Therefore, a lack of growth on its own does not necessarily indicate the presence of significant barrier to growth. So that means if there's no potential for one organization to record growth, dia tak boleh salahkan what we call it barriers yang tadi yang kita sebut. It could be benda-benda lain juga. Okay, so this is the strategy for new venture growth. For venture growth, definitely it depends. The trades strategies is trades dah maksudnya where it is coming from. What is the origin of that? Okay, trades. Number one, general competencies definitely, as I mentioned earlier, is very much dependent on the business process. So general competencies must relate to this business process. So do the specific competencies. However, it very much dependent on the core and the main agenda of that organization. Okay, we know for the fact that some organization, they rather change, or sorry, they rather remain any competencies for their personnel and all that. The fourth one is the motivation. Motivation, we are referring to the individual motivation and also the organizational motivation. Okay, so that is very much inform the venture growth that we wanted. For example, motivation in terms of the organization is very much, I would say, being saved by observing people around. Okay, and size also is part of it, whereby if you have a good size, then you can declare as a bonus for you. But if you have incompetent size, then there will be a problem. The strategies for venture growth, traits, tenacity, proactive passion for work, and general competencies in organization skill, opportunity, that opportunity assessment. What else? Specific competencies, technical skill, and industrial skill. What we call it insight skill of the industry, and must have a vision in terms of a record of vision, growth cell, and self-efficacy. So portal generic strategies. This is very much industry analysis where we consider competitive edge and competitive advantage. Competitive edge, that means what are the scope of our strategy. That is competitive edge, and definitely it moves from broad target to narrow target. And the other element is the competitive advantage, more or less, coming from the firm itself. So if we have broad target with a lower cost, so that means we need to a bit participate and not manipulative, but rather than very extremely confident that cost leadership is part of it. Okay. Meanwhile, if we have a product differentiation or differentiation approach with a broad target, definitely we need to proceed with differentiation, because um, the differentiation is part of what we call it competitive advantage. Whereby if we have lower cost and narrow target, it must cost focus. Cost focus, that means you need to make sure that the core activities of the business and the core features of the product or services must be at what we call it a good shape and also ready to use. That is what we call a cost focus, if the significant coming from that operation. Third, differentiation. The fourth one is based on argument of differentiation and narrow target. And indeed, is a differentiation focus give advantage in terms of people can recognize that organization easily, when you are able to differentiate yourself. Okay. So all in all, we see that another strategies is what we call legitimacy strategies. Legitimacy strategy. That means you are drawing argument of your establishment in this. So using legitimacy strategy for venture growth, Legitimacy, generalized perception or assumption that action and entity are desirable, valuable, and believed. Legitimacy in relationship between the practices and utterances of the organization and those that are contained with, approved of, and enforced by the social system in which organization exists. Okay, so that is for this topic. I hope that you will benefit. And again, would like to I beg your pardon for not being able to be with you. However, I also would like you to scan the QR code that I'm going to share because it's very important. Okay, so please scan this QR code, and if you are have done, I wish you all the selamat pulang lah ke keluarga masing-masing for your midterm break. So see you the following week. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera.